Welcome back. Today we're looking at the Diablo 4 patch notes for June 27th. This is a big list of patch notes, adjustments to classes, balances, stuff like that. We're going to look at everything here. I'm going to give my opinion on some stuff, and we're going to see exactly what happened and what changed, because we know Diablo 4 needs some work. It is a brand new game, essentially, right? And it's still in its baby steps, considering the game's going to run for 10 years or so. How is it going to be adjusted? Is it going to become a more solid ARPG in the market? Let's do this. The L4 team has been diligently monitoring your feedback, and as we introduce patches to keep your experience in Sanctuary smooth, we will update the below list and denote whether the fixes are intended for PC, Xbox, PlayStation, or all platforms. We don't care about consoles. Bug fixes. All right. This is important because there's been a lot of exploits, unfortunately. So dungeon events and other activities. Fixed an issue where players couldn't engage with the Dead Man's Dredge dungeon boss. Fixed an issue where certain whispers couldn't be completed. Fixed an issue where those who called the storm event wouldn't register as completed. Fixed an issue where those who called the storm event would place a permanent debuff on the player that would gradually drain health. Oof. That's scary for hardcore. Fixed an issue where enemies could spawn behind the sealed door in the Cultist Refuge dungeon, blocking dungeon progression. My guildies have seen this. I have not, but my guildies ran into this. That was kind of funny. Fixed an issue where characters could be damaged and killed during the Stronghold completion cutscene. Ooh. Fixed an issue where the level 100 Pinnacle boss would appear again with no health bar if killed during a specific phase. Fixed an issue where progression could be blocked in the Fallen Temple Capstone dungeon. Fixed an issue that resulted in a crash or freeze if players entered the Untamed Thicket dungeon during the Fang of Corruption quest. Nothing crazy. Gameplay fixes. Fixed an issue with the Insatiable Fury and Mad Wolf's Glee items prevented druids from transforming into the werebear or werewolf forms. Yes, I've seen this. There's additional bugs with this item. I think it's called Earth Sign. Am I saying that right? Earth Sign. It's one of the druids' final passives in their skill tree. It is called, if I'm getting this right, Ursine Strength. Gain additional 20% maximum life while in werebear form and for 3 seconds after leaving werebear form. While healthy, deal 30% increased damage. Problem with the unique that gives you the permanent druid bear form. The problem with that one, that is called Insatiable Fury. That's the item they list here. That was not proccing that passive. That passive is technically supposed to be active at all times because the Insatiable Fury makes a werebear is your true form. That should be active essentially 24/7. And it was kind of bugging it out. I'm not sure if that's fixed. I'm going to do further testing after this. Fixed an issue where spider host enemies would remain upright after exploding and dying. I've seen that. Fixed an issue where equipment and socketed gems couldn't be mass salvaged. I haven't seen that. Fixed an issue where players were unable to teleport to Saragar while in Saragar and Saragar outskirts subregion. Fix an issue where corpse tendrils would cause the corpse visual to disappear. Fix an issue where the camera would not zoom out when joining a world boss encounter. Fix an issue where barbarian players would get stuck between bone balls after using charge. Fix an issue where rogue players would remain invisible to other players after using concealment skills in Fields of Hatred. That sucks. That's PvP area, by the way, Fields of Hatred. Fix an issue where Arida's tornadoes would cause the player to be stuck in a knockback state if hit by multiple tornadoes at once. Yes, that happened to Harley during a boss fight, and that was scary because we play hardcore. That was definitely a scary time. Fix an issue where pressing any button on a controller while dazed would halt all player input. Fix an issue where catches and world tier conditions could be brought into higher world tiers and provide rewards for that world tier. Good fix on that, because people were abusing that. Fix an issue with a Skeleton Warrior upgrade for increasing Thorns damage would not properly apply. Fix an issue where the Burning Instinct power on the Sorcerer Paragon board did not account for base critical damage in its damage calculation. Fix an issue where a player could move in game during the leave game countdown. Local co-op. I don't know anyone that's playing this game local co-op. Fix an issue where a second player that closes the region progress menu would be locked in the world map. Fix an issue where some quests would not properly progress for all players in local co-op. Fix an issue where the preview slot for item upgrades would only display for player 1 during local co-op. Fix an issue where buttons in the store would become uninteractable for player 2 during local co-op. Fix an issue where targeting the same enemy would show different health bars for each player during local co-op. Fix an issue where the Spirit Boons menu couldn't be closed. by player 2 if player 1 had it open during local co-op. Fix an issue where the remaining player would not be able to move on their mount if the player exited the game during local co-op. Alright, some changes here. So we're leaving the bug fixes areas. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. Fix an issue where the NPC Lacthen could duplicate during multiple quests. Okay, we're still in bug fixes. Fixed an issue. Wow, there's a lot of bug fixes. Fixed an issue where progression of the Malign Devotion quest could become blocked if the player left the cell as Lacthen started to stand up. Fixed an issue where players would have their progression in the Apex of Misery quest blocked if teleported away and back during the Destroy the Risen Remains objective. Fixed an issue where player character would get blocked if they sat on a chair to talk to an NPC during the Demon Ledger quest. I keep clicking those chairs by accident. They suck. Fixed an issue where Brawl and Mother's Chosen would move oddly during the eavesdropping cutscene if the player was near the broken wall. Players may now enter the boss area after the follower has joined them during the Storming the Gates quest. Fix an issue where Illusion Woods statue could become an interactable during the Wayward quest. Fix an issue to potential rogue quests. Class quests sometimes couldn't properly be completed. Okay, UI fixed an issue where chat could be expanded even when the chat is not invisible. Not visible. That's good. I had that problem. Fix an issue where a player's HP bar would appear to be 0 if they left the vicinity of the player while not at full health. Yes! The party member's health. I've been streaming, as you guys may or may not know. I've been streaming, and a lot of people, when we're playing hardcore, they're thinking that one of the party members just died, because as you're leaving their range, their vicinity, their health bar just goes down to 0. You see it like drain to 0, and it looks like they just essentially got one shot. And that bug fix is huge, because that was happening nonstop. Good. Fix an issue where the GPU not supported message would display broken text. Fix an issue where the particles for Druid Spirit Boons would persist after closing the associated menu. Fix an issue on Xbox consoles where the cross-network play notification would display in-game even if cross-network play was disabled. Yes, I'm getting that even on PC. I wonder if that's going to be fixed. Fix an issue that displayed an empty notification to players when world bosses appeared. Fix an issue where the potion upgrade icon would be missing when playing with a controller. Fix an issue where the Town Portal progress bar would be visible while in menus. Next issue on PC where the tab key would not open the map if the materials panel was open. Fix an issue where the spur ability for mounts would display as not yet learned. Fix an issue where the linked item menu would persist on screen when switching between keyboard, mouse, and mouse input and controller input. Fix an issue where players would receive improper messaging when doing the deletion of a hardcore character. Fix an issue where the interact wheel prompt would appear over vases near the Fate's Retreat waypoint. Fix an issue where the socket button would persist if the player swapped tabs. Fix multiple instances where pins on the map from either quest or the player would not function properly. Fix multiple instances across a variety of menus where text would display properly. Fix multiple issues with health bars not displaying accurately during PvP activities. Various other improvements to the UI experience. Various localization fixes. Fix an issue where the Purveyor Curiosities menu would erroneously display item quality on some items. It affected what the item quality was available for gamble. Selenius. Fixed issues where users couldn't create a clan when the languages were set to Russian or Spanish. Fixed an issue where the shop would not properly load if the player dies while in the checkout. Gotta fix those cash shop bugs, right? Gotta make sure people can buy things. Fixed an issue where multiple cutscenes would not play if the player engaged with them when in a party of 3 or more players on Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PS4. Fixed an issue where the randomized look and swap body type actions in the shop didn't function when viewing cosmetic armor. Fixed an issue where PS5 screen reader wouldn't function. Fixed an issue where emotes in the shop would not always function when used with a controller. Fixed an issue where players' character's eye would display improperly during the Lawrence cabin scene in the prologue. See their eye just like falling down their face. Various stability, performance, and visual improvements across all platforms. Fix an issue where players using laptops with certain dedicated GPUs would not be able to play the game. I think a guild member was getting this. I think Duck, if you see this video, I think that might be you. Gameplay adjustments, experience rewards, significantly increased experience awarded for completing Nightmare Dungeons. Yes, this is the interesting stuff. Nightmare Dungeons, more experience. Significantly increased the experience gained from killing monsters in Nightmare Dungeons. Amazing. Great. Helltide Chest now provides substantially more bonus experience when opened. Huh. I never even noticed that Helltide Chest gave you experience. Huh. Interesting. Definitely increased reward experience for completing individual whispers across the board. Fixed an issue where no experience was rewarded for completing the holdout style event that can occur after finishing dungeon objectives. Helltide roaming bosses will now more consistently drop higher quality loot. Great. Players can now teleport to their nightmare dungeon directly through the map. Amazing. But weekly bonus catch from world bosses no longer have a level requirement for opening. We're currently working on increasing the monster and elite density of endgame content and plan to introduce this change early in Season 1. Okay, I don't like that. What do you mean early in Season 1? Like, that should be day 1 of Season 1. That should be with the Season 1 patch. That's going to affect the entire Season 1 ladder, so that's a shame. We continue our efforts to make all class builds feel fun and powerful with another round of balance updates. In particular, we've seen community feedback stating that basic skills aren't impactful enough in combat. Very true. These changes will not change the fundamental relationship between basic skills and core skills, but we hope that they help smooth out the leveling experience while we explore additional ways to strengthen them. We'll also increase the power of some skills that players feel lagging behind their peers. As we look forward to future updates, we're monitoring other heavily discussed topics such as minion survivability and build parity. Please keep sending us feedback, and we'll see you in Sanctuary. Skills: Lunge and Strike. Base damage increased from 30% to 33%. Fury generated from increased from 9 to 10. Small buff. Not bad. Bash Fury generated increased from 10 to 11. Enhanced Bash's Fortify increased from 10% to 20%. Frenzy. Base damage increased from 20% to 22%. Not too bad. Flight. Bleeding base damage increased from 36% to 40%. Fury generated increased from 9 to 10. Enhanced Flay's vulnerable chance increased from 10% to 15%. More vulnerable uptime with Flay. Huh. That's pretty big. This was, unless I'm mistaken, which I know I'm not, this is Enhanced Flay is the first point. Flay has a 10% chance, which is now going to be 15% chance. Double this chance when using a two-handed weapon. So that is now going to be a 30% chance to provide vulnerable to a target if we're using a two-hander. Double swing. Base damage increased from 36% to 40%. Kick. Cooldown reduced from 17 to 13 seconds. Almost nobody is using kick, so it makes sense to buff it. Base damage dealt to enemies knocked back in terrain increased from 54% to 70%. Kick needs some love because it is Charge. Enhanced charge base damage dealt to enemies knocked back in terrain increased from 15 to 30%. Leap. Mighty Leap slow increased from 50% to 70%. Look out in PvP. Iron Skin. Enhanced Iron Skin's barrier increased from 10% to 20% of max life. Good. Call of the Ancients. Prime Call of the Ancients bonus attack speed increased from 10% to 20%. Iron Maelstrom. Cooldown reduced from 60 to 45 seconds. That's huge. Prime Iron Maelstrom's bonus critical strike chance increased from 10% to 30%. Prime Iron Maelstrom bonus critical strike damage increased from 20% to 40%. That's a pretty big Iron Maelstrom build. Buff. Still don't know if anyone's going to use it in their build, but that's an interesting buff. Really, 45 seconds stacked with cooldown reduction and your cooldown reduction for Ground Stomp. Ground Stomp, if you guys don't know, it reduces the cooldown of ultimate skills by 1 second for each enemy damage with Ground Stomp. Tying that together, you could be using Iron Maelstrom quite often. You'll be getting maybe a cooldown reduction. You end up getting that below close to 30-second cooldown. You Ground Stomp, you hit 10 enemies, you're down to 20-second cooldown on Iron Maelstrom. That's pretty good. Bounding Slam. Base damage increased from 75% to 112. The blow includes changes to flat damage legendary aspects. These effects scale with item power. For example, at A20, item power Bokathos' Earthquake increases from 1747 to 2687, with the max at 3404 going to 3717. Earthquake flat damage increased from 0.39 to 0.6 at bottom end. Wow, that is massive. That really reduces the range. The low end to the high end has been greatly reduced. That's huge. Wow, yeah, that's big. So the top end goes from 0.76 to 0.83. Earthquake flat damage increased from 0.39 to 0.6. Again, they're closing the gaps here, so you're not hitting. There's not such a huge gap in damage now. Dust Devil's flat damage increased from 0.16 to 0.22, 0.25. It's a bit of a buff. Wind Lasher, Dust Devil flat damage again. So let's buff the Dust Devils all here, and then Devilish has been increased a little bit stronger because it was initially stronger anyway. Iron Warrior, damage reduction increased from 10 to 20% to 15 to 25. Wow. Wow. Overkill, damage increased from 16 to, I didn't really even think we needed a higher damage reduction, but that's all right. That's interesting. Aspect of Iron Warrior, Iron Skin grants unstoppable and 10 to 20% damage reduction. Now it's 15 to 25. That's a high survivability cooldown now. Overkill, damage increased from 16 to 30% to 24 to 38. Hellhammer, flat damage increased from 3.3 to 0.5. It's now 0.6 to 0.8. Druid, let's see what we got. Earth Spike, base damage increased from 16% to 17%. That's a very minor buff. Spirit generated increased from 10 to 11. Fierce Earth Spike Fortify increased from 4% to 8%. That's good. Wind Shear, base damage increased from 17 to 18. Spirit generated increased from 12 to 13. Claw, base damage increased from 20 to 22%. Spirit generated increased from 10 to 11. Wild Claw double attack chance increased from 10 to 15%. Great. Fierce Claw damage increased from 10 to 15%. I like the double attack thing. That sounds, kind of cool. Every once in a while you're hitting and then, bam, give him a little backhand with the claw. I like to see that be a little bit more viable. Maul, base damage increased from 20 to 22. Spirit generated from 14 to 15. Enhanced Maul Fortify increased from 2% to 3%. Enhanced Lightning Storm duration increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Primal Lightning Storm's chance to immobilize increased from 8 to 12%. Shred, third attack base damage increased from 60 to 70%. Enhanced Shred healing increased from 1% to 2%. Raging Shred's base damage increased from 51% to 70%. Primal Shred's bonus critical strike damage increased from 20% to 30%. Nice. Wolves, cooldown reduced from 14 to 11 seconds. Ferocious Wolfpack Lucky Hit increased from 10% to 40%. Wow. That's big jump. Hurricane, base damage increased from 97.5% to 134%. That's a big buff for Hurricane. Rabies, base poisoning damage increased from 53% to 76%. I do believe that Rabies did need that buff. It did need that. I'm glad to see that they're getting a little bit of love. Cataclysm, 52% to 64% still sounds like it sucks. Cataclysm's always sucked, and it looks like it's still bad. Lacerate, base damage increased from 400% to 460%. Petrify, critical strike damage bonus increased from 25% to 30%. Pummel, base damage increased from 140% to 180%. Bestial Rampage, attack speed bonus increased from 20% to 25%. Damage bonus increased from 20% to 30%. It's pretty good. That is not bad at all. I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Bestial Rampage. After being werewolf for 2.5 seconds, gain 20% attack speed. Now it's 25 for 15 seconds. After being werebear for 2.5 seconds, deal 20% increased damage for 15 seconds. Now it's 30% increased damage. That is pretty good. It's starting to really justify the double form type of builds now. So we'll see how that goes. Nature's Fury, chance to cast a free spell increased from 20% to 30%. Wow. I was having fun with that build. I'll show you guys. I'm going to do a build video where I mess around with Nature's Fury. That is huge for that build. Wow. Lupine Ferocity, damage bonus increased from 60% to 70%. That's the every 6th werewolf hit critically. Every 6th werewolf skill hit critically strikes and deals 70% increased damage instead of 60%. Not a bad buff. Not huge, but... Runeworker's Conduit, flat damage increased from 1 to 1.4. Mangle, chance increased from 20 to 30% to 30 to 40. Seismic Shift, cooldown decreased from 2.5 to 1.5. Down to 2 second to 1 second. That's good. So they reduced the cooldown on that. Pillar Beast, damage increased from 60 to 90% to 70% to 100%. Alright, Necro. Reap, base damage increased from 12% to 13%. Alkalite Reap's cooldown between corpses reduced from 5 to 4. Decompose, base damage increased from 30% to 33%. Base essence generated per second increased from 7 to 8. Corpses formed frequency increased from 2.5 to 2. It's a good buff. Hemorrhage, base damage increased from 25% to 27%. Essence generated increased from 8 to 9. Bone Splinters, Base damage increased from 8 to 9%. Essence generated increased from 6 to 7. Sever. Initial base damage increased from 63% to 66%. Enhanced Sever's return base damage increased from 25% to 40%. That's a big buff for Sever. That's a big Sever buff. That's not bad. Bloodlance. Supernatural Bloodlance overpower requirement reduced from 8 to 6 casts. Good. More overpower builds. I'd like to see that. Bone Prison. Cooldown reduced from 20 to 18 seconds. Dreadful Bone Prison's Fortify increased from 5 to 8%. Not a huge fan of Bone Prison, but okay. A little bit of a buff. Iron Maiden. Base damage increased from 10% to 20%. That's big. Hard Iron Maiden damage bonus increased from 15% to 20%. Iron Maiden's getting a little bit of a buff. That's not bad. Corpse Tendrils. Blight Corpse Tendrils chance to spawn a Blood Orb increased from 30% to 35%. Bone Spikes. Base damage increased from 80% to 120%. That's pretty big. That's quite huge. I do like that we don't see anything about Bone Spear. Blizzard, I think they're holding their nerfs. They're holding it away for a second. They could be like, okay, here's our nerfs column. Here's our nerfs patch. Let's wait. They want to buff everything because everyone's complaining about weak builds. So everything's about buffs right now. I noticed there's not a single nerf in play, even though there are some things in game that definitely need to be nerfed. This is interesting though. Interesting to see that it's all buffs. But we'll get to our nerf patch probably on the launch of Season 1, so be ready. Minions will now always engage targets with a cast curse. That is really cool because you could essentially use a curse as an attack command in a way. It's not bad. Kalan's Edict. Damage taken duration requirement reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. Rathma's Vigor. Healthy duration requirement reduced from 10 to 12 seconds. Spiked Armor. Thorns increased from 0.08 to 0.1, 0.16 to 0.2, 0.24 to 0.3. Cool. Bursting Bone. Flat damage increased from 0.022 to 0.045. 0.03 to 0.06. Wow, that's a big buff. Flesh Rending. Essence gained increased from 10 to 20 to 20 to 40. Fast Blood. Ultimate cooldown reduction increased from 0.5 to 1 to 1 to 1.5. More ultimates. Rogue, what you got for us? Invigorating Strike. Base damage increased from 23 to 25%. Blade Shift. Base damage increased from 15 to 16%. Heartseeker. Base damage increased from 22 to 24%. Primary Heartseeker damage increased from 30 to 75%. What? Heartseeker's ricochets to an additional enemy, dealing 30% of its original damage. Now it's 75% of the original damage. Damn, that's a good buff. Forceful Arrow. Base damage increased from 20% to 22%. Barrage. Base damage increased from 20% to 22%. Caltrops. Methodical Caltrops Chill increased from 20% to 25%. Smoke Grenade. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 13 seconds. Rain of Arrows. Cooldown reduced from 60 to 55 seconds. Prime Rain of Arrows. Imbuement Potency increased from 20% to 30%. Not bad. Volley. Base damage increased from 70% to 105%. It's a good buff. Passive. Close Quarters Combat. Damage bonus increased from 20% to 30%. Wow. And you'll notice one thing. There's no buff for Twisting Blades for a good reason. However, Close Quarters Combat. That's going to be a buff. Close Quarters Combat. Damaging a close enemy with Marksman or Cutthroat skills. Each grant a 10% attack speed bonus for 8 seconds. While both attack speed bonuses are active, you deal 30% increased damage against crowd-controlled enemies. I mean, it's going to be a buff for everyone, really, depending on... you have to be sure you're using crowd control in the build, obviously, but that's going to be a buffer for everyone, all builds. So Twisting Blades is already doing crazy damage. That's although you don't really use that, but you don't. Well, who knows? With another buff or so, that might actually become the thing to use. Maybe some attack speed buff in there as well to buff the attack speed portion of Close Quarters Combat. Legendary Aspects. Escape Artist. Cooldown decreased from 100 to 45 seconds. Wow. Umbros. Lucky hit chance to gain a Dark Shroud increased from 30 to 50% to 40 to 60. Eyes in the Dark items. Increased Death Trap cooldown reduced from 30 to 15% to Increased death trap cooldown reduced. From 30 to 15% to 20 to 15%. Anyone else reading that a little bit weird? That's almost reads like a nerf. Eyes in the dark. Unless it hits a boss or player, Death Trap will continue to rearm itself until it kills an enemy. However, Death Trap's cooldown is increased. Oh, that's the one that increases the cooldown time of Death Trap. It makes Death Trap's cooldown longer. This is reducing that. Instead of 30 to 15%, it's 20 to 15. So the lower the number, the better on this. Okay, I'm glad I looked that item up, because that was a little bit confusing. I forgot how that worked. Sorcerer, Spark. Damage increased from 8% to 10%. Enhanced Spark's damage increased from 5.6% to 7%. Flickering Spark chance increased from 3% to 4%. Very cool. Base damage increased from 35 to 38% for Frostbolt. Firebolt, burning damage increased from 40% to 44%. Charge Bolt, base damage increased from 28% to 30%. Incinerate, base damage increased from 49% to 54%. Enhanced Incinerate damage increased from 15% to 25%. Greater Incinerate and Immobilize requirement reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. Mana cost decreased from 40 to 35. Frozen Orb. Oh, that was for Fireball. Mana cost decreased from 40 to 35. And then Frozen Orb, initial base damage increased from 32% to 36%. Explosion base damage increased from 29% to 34%. Greater Frozen Orb chance to apply vulnerable increased from 25% to 30%. Frozen Orb got some love there. I like that. Blizzard, base damage increased from 120 to 130%. There is a broken Blizzard build out there that really does need to be nerfed. Ice Blade, chance to apply vulnerable increase from 30% to 40%. Lightning Spear, summoned Lightning Spear's maximum damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. Crackling Energy, base damage increased from 15 to 20%. Freezing Wake, base damage increased from 60 to 110%. That's big. I'm going to pull that up real quick. That's Freezing Wake. Where are you? Apparently I'm not going to pull that up. Alright. Looks like that's not working right, but anyway. That's a pretty big buff. Yeah, Frozen Orb definitely got some love here. I really do like Frozen Orb, so I'm hoping that we see some more Frost type of builds that are a little bit more viable with their damage when we're using Frozen Orb, because we did have to kind of switch over to Ice Shards to do more damage, more single target damage, and then you can use a Frozen Orb aspect to kind of also throw Frozen Orbs automatically as you're using Ice Shards, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. But I'd like to be able to use only Frozen Orb, like Diablo 2 days back in the day. So that's kind of cool. Legendary aspect, Abundant Energy, chance to chain to an additional enemy increase from 20 to 30 to 30 to 40. Singed Extremity, slow amount increase from 25 to 35% to 40 to 60. That's big. 60%, wow. Incendiary, chance to restore mana increase from 5 to 10 to 12 to 17. Snow Guards, damage reduction increase from 10 to 15% to 20 to 25. More survivability for the sorcerers. Concentration, mana regeneration increase from 10 to 20 to 20 to 30. Flame Scar, flat damage increase from 0.2 to 0.1 to 0.2 has been increased to 0.2 to 0.3. That's big buff. Staff of Lama Sin, damage reduction reduced from 40 to 30% to 35 to 25%. I'm gonna pull that up real quick. Charge bolts pierce but deal 40 to 30% less damage. So now instead of 40 to 30% less damage, it's 35 to 25% less damage. Charge bolts pierce. Everything's a buff. Everything's a buff in the entire list of class balances. Every single thing has been a buff, not a single nerf. Get ready. I'm warning you guys, it's definitely coming. Don't get comfortable with some of these builds. But I think Blizzard did the right thing. We don't want to cause another uproar which is definitely going to happen if we nerf some things. We know how people are. Well, guys, that was the June 27th patch notes. What do you think? Overall, my opinion on it is it's a start. It's a start. Bug fixes are important. Some balance changes are important. I think the Helltide adjustments here, roaming bosses will drop higher quality loot, because I was definitely saying, why even kill this Kicksarth dude, the big beetle guy that you guys have seen. Players can now teleport to Nightmare Dungeon. That's great. Significantly increased the experience. That I gotta test, and significantly increased the experience from killing monsters and completing Nightmare Dungeons. Helltide chest, I wasn't even aware that they gave experience. I never even noticed. So that's interesting. Reward experience for completing whispers across the board. So every whisper has got an experience bonus. So this should make leveling to 100 more bearable for a lot of people. I think as you get to the end game, you don't want to be farming normal dungeons. I mean, well, we did. It made sense to farm normal dungeons, but that's not a good design. So I like that they're pushing the Nightmare Dungeons to be more prestigious and more beneficial to run. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the patch? What do you guys think of the adjustments to the skills, the experience, the bug fixes all around? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I like it thus far. Let's see what else Blizzard has on the table waiting for us for Season 1. That's only 2 to 3 weeks away at this point, unless it gets delayed. We'll see. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later!